Hello, listeners. Thank you for joining me for Season 5 of Cal's audiobooks. This season is special because I'll be sharing a story I've been working on off and on since 2001. Back then, I was a sad little emo kid living in Las Vegas, writing a detective novel about a man stealing people's body parts. It was gory and bleak. I was a messed up kid. Looking back, I think it grew out of the atmosphere of the post-September 11th world, and films like Kenneth Branagh's Frankenstein. This idea has been fermenting in the cast of my mind since then, and I am thrilled that it is now ready to be shared. So what is this story about? At its heart, it's about where the lines blur between becoming a monster and stopping one. This story is about Idris Whitaker. She doesn't know it yet, but she's a terminally ill 13-year-old girl about to get a second chance at life. But when a new kind of vampire threatens the town of Whispers Bay, Idris must decide what her true calling really is. If you enjoyed the story, I encourage you to also check out Whispers Bay for its backstory. The following audiobook has been rated PG-13 for violence and dark themes. Listener discretion is advised. The Calling of Idris Whitaker by M.P. Temple. Read by the author. Episode 1, Stage 4 Club. Doctor's Office, Sawyer County Hospital, Whispers Bay, Oregon. If you don't stop asking me if I'm pregnant, I will punch you in the nose. I'm 13, you creep. Idris was not in the mood to mess around. A normal kid might have been excited to get a day off from school for a doctor's appointment. But she knew something was not right. Like the ugly neon green walls in the room she sat in, something felt off. The doctor snorted and rolled his eyes. Idris thought he smelled weird and didn't like that he hardly acknowledged her. The older man seemed more interested in whatever was on his phone than whatever was going on with her. He did not seem concerned about her weight loss, her pain, or her shortness of breath. She struggled to stay awake in class and could no longer walk long distances without taking a sitting break. The once hyper child who her father couldn't get to stop running now sat pale and exhausted. The kid's hair was uncombed, and her outfit could only be described as these clothes were easy to put on. "It's depression then, child." Dr. Century waved her off and closed a folder with her name written across it. "You are young. There's nothing to be sad about. I'm a doctor. If I make a mistake, it matters. No one cares what you do." "I'm not leaving here until I get a full blood work done," Idris demanded. "You are like the students I used to teach before I got my nurse practitioner's license. They used to put their feet on the desk when I tried the lecture. Can you imagine?" Idris shook her head. "Give me my test." The doctor turned towards the door. "Where's your father? He said he was getting some water and never came back." Idris frowned. "That's not important. Give me my blood test." The doctor glared at her long enough for Idris to wonder if he was going to throw fists and burst into a fit of rage. But suddenly, he started shaking his head. "A nurse!" he shouted. Months later, Rossart Middle School, Whispers Bay, Oregon. Idris Whitaker knew she was going to die. There was nothing she could do about it. The 13-year-old girl with brown curly hair tossed her entire backpack into the trash can next to her locker. They had given her a box, but there was no use in keeping anything inside of it. The girl had thrown out every note and photo, including one of her father that seemed to find its way back to the top of the trash pile, staring back at her. When the Portland doctors told Mr. Whitaker and Idris the news, he had hardly even looked at his own daughter. He had avoided her since, not coming home after work. She had not seen him for weeks. Idris could feel everyone's eyes on her. "Can't take it with me," Idris said. She found herself saying this or similar phrases dozens of times throughout her days. Some kids watching her laughed nervous chuckles. No one dared to say a word as she tossed stacks of get-well-soon cards into the trash. When her locker was empty of all of her belongings, she removed the top shirt she was wearing, one of the many layers of clothing she wore to keep warm. The shirt read simply, Stage 4 Club. No one had found it as humorous as Idris had. She had hoped that the obviousness would save her from explaining that she was terminally ill over and over. This did not work, and she still had to explain her fate repeatedly. She had seen so much sympathy in the past weeks, she began hating it. Well-meaning words still mean very little with her days numbered. She could no longer stand the smell of anything casserole, having been sent so many by Sunset Baptist Church. She stayed polite, of course, but Idris could hardly stand it. "Are you ready?" she heard a voice say. Of course, Idris was not ready. No one ever would be ready for that sort of thing. It would be the last time she would step foot in the musty halls of Rossart Middle School. She would never make it to Whispers High. Life was over. She turned to face the older girl with the square jaw wearing pink scrubs. People often mistook the Navajo girl for her nurse, but she was the older kid next door to the Whitakers. Idris did find it strange her neighbor kept coming into her apartment and poking her on the head with vegetables. But somehow, even as her illness worsened, she felt better when Taylor was around. Taylor had taken care of her so often the school got permission to contact her instead of Mr. Whitaker if Idris needed to be taken out of classes early. Idris knew Taylor was trying to hide her crying again, so she looked the other way. But what she saw was a hallway full of kids standing, trying to hold back their own tears. Instead, Idris looked to the ground. "Yeah, I'm done here." Idris slammed the locker. Taylor reached out and embraced her in a deep hug. Idris could hold it no longer. She cried hard and uncontrollably, holding on to Taylor. The only words she could find to say were, "This sucks. I'm gonna do everything I can for you. I promise," Taylor said. They let go of each other and headed towards the door. "Why is there always a carrot in your pocket?" Idris asked, still sobbing but trying anything she could to break the wave of sadness. "I'm in a magic cult," Taylor said. "We use vegetable wands and stick our noses up at non-magic people. I've been keeping you alive with magic herbology." The two walked towards a waiting shuttle. "I'm not in the mood to pretend," Idris said. "Why would you walk around with a vegetable in your pocket?" Taylor smiled at this. "I said I'm doing everything it takes. I've made up my mind." So your county hospital, Whispers Bay, 2019. As she lay in bed attached to beeping and chirping machines, she looked out the window at the rolling hills that led down to the shoreline. That is when she could keep her eyes open. The sicker she got, the more she went in and out of consciousness. She spent most of her time this way. There would be times she would feel well enough to tilt her head up to watch the TV mounted on the opposite side of the room. She had no idea what she was watching when she did this. Trying to focus on anything when she was that weak and that much pain typically required too much energy. When she could find a way to stay awake, she found she preferred watching the deer gather in the timbers. She could see that 5 of them would often gather near a crosswalk, and one of them would use its nose to hit the button. She could hear the deer repeatedly causing the crosswalk to say, "Wait, wait, wait." How did the deer know how to use a crosswalk? She thought. Why is everything in town so strange? A man with a purple cape burst into the room. He adjusted his round glasses on his face and smiled. "Are you here to take me and Taylor to Novelton Ridge?" Saying the words Novelton Ridge felt to her as if she was crossing a threshold. For there she knew would be her end. But she had no more tears to cry. The hurt and constant mental strain left her numb. At that moment, her only want in life was to make the pain stop. "It's your lucky day," the man said. Idris, in fact, did not feel very lucky or good. She resented the tone of his voice. With all of her strength, she mustered the words. "Who do you think you are?" The man laughed. Well, my dear, I am the Barry Dicknine, the trailblazer. I have a game here for you to help you on your journey of getting better. Barry tossed a board game onto her lap. Don't you love the cover? Barry said. Double Exposed, the board game. That is something I'd want on my shelf at home to show off to all my guests. Go ahead, look inside the box. All of this could be yours for the low price of $80. Inside the box was a slapped-together board game of missing pieces. Someone had taken a black marker and had crossed out a lot of the artwork as well. Barry noticed her and quickly interjected, Don't worry, that artist got laid off, like the rest of them. So what do you say, $80? Maybe you and your parents can play it to pass the time. This is going to fund my research, but of course you know that, little girl. My mother is dead, Idris said, and my father is at the bar, always. I don't have any friends, not since I got sick. They stopped talking to me. Oh, Barry said disappointedly. You aren't my target audience. Well, no matter. The man walked over to Idris and plucked a strand of her hair. Normally, Idris would have yelled out, but moving even a finger required so much energy she could not even respond. She could only watch as he inspected her plucked hair closely. Well, you let the nurses know if you change your mind. We have other splendid games as well. Bye now. Days later, Novelton Ridge. A strange man with a dozen cats and an old Buick drove Idris and Taylor to the small mountain town. Taylor had laid in the back with her, but Idris did not remember much. When she was awake, the pain and tiredness restricted her from doing anything productive. She had been carried into a cabin along Novelton Ridge's only street. The house had little furniture other than some equipment brought over from the Sawyer County Hospital. They placed her on a bed in the living room, which opened into the kitchen. In some ways, Idris felt relieved, but scared. All she wanted to do was hold Taylor's hand and wait for the end. Taylor tapped Idris with her pocket carrot, whispering long words of gibberish. Idris opened her eyes. I'm sorry your dad isn't here. Taylor choked out the words while squeezing tighter. You'll always be here for me, Idris said. The strange man with the cats coughed. Taylor burst into uncontrollable tears. Oh, Idris, I want to be, she cried. But soon, we won't be able to see each other again. Suck at saying goodbyes, Idris. I'm a yo-yo wizard, and I'm soul bonding with you to save you. I need you to tell people how cool I was, okay? Be something for me. The town must know about the things that Barry Dicknine has been doing. Damage he has done cannot be fixed. What are you talking about? Idris said. I'm the one dying. No, I'm not letting that happen. Taylor shook her head. You're going to the void, till I can find a way to cure you. There's little left of me, but I wanted to let you have the final pieces. My parents are dead. I have nothing left to give. You are my legacy. I'm gonna miss you, kid. Someday you're gonna live an amazing long life, even if you'll be seen as an oathbreaker. Idris had no idea what any of this meant. The man with cats interjected. Are you sure? Once you go through with this, there's no backing out. It is permanent. I've made up my mind, Taylor said. Idris tried to flee, but she could not. She was not well enough to lift herself off the bed. What are you doing? I'm scared. I want to go home, Idris said. It'll be over soon, Taylor said. She placed the carrot wand in Idris's forehead and uttered a long spell. The man looked on with his arms crossed, his cats played at his feet. The life of Idris Whitaker flowed in the Taylor. All of her pain and consciousness disappeared from the earth, leaving behind a stone statue of her, a place marker in some ways, since her soul had been sent to the void. The Not a Magic Tea Shop Magic Dispensary, Whispers Bay, 2024. Like coming out of a dream or being put under at a dentist office, Idris woke after 5 years of being in the void. She lay on a wooden floor on top of a woman she had never seen before. She coughed, feeling like her body had somehow been in storage. but her pain and illness remained. A giant humanoid-like monster with dozens of heads and mouths rose from behind the counter. "Bring the girl to me," it said. Chaos filled the room. Townspeople held pitchforks. People in robes and top hats held vegetable wands. Everyone seemed to be attacking each other. Idris had no idea what was going on or why this woman was dragging her to a monster. "Idris!" screamed Mr. Whitaker. "Put out the flames! Everyone stop! Idris!" The monster, Gorbobolo Popkus, crossed in front of the sick child, being held by Luni with all of her strength. The woman held the girl up to the creature. "Please save her," she said. "Please." The monster's mouth began to open wide. "Blabbergiliosis!" Idris heard somebody shout. "No!" A man leapt in front of them. A spell rang out. A body fell to the floor. The monster swallowed Idris whole with one of its many mouths. From outside the beast she heard, "Leave the girl alone! Don't hurt her! Idris!" She knew that voice. "Put out the flames! Everyone stop!" her father said. Idris could not make out the other noises she was hearing from the room because the pain from within her began to disappear. There, within the belly of the creature, she was healed of her illness. She was spewed out of the monster onto the wet floor. Somehow it was raining in the room, but Idris did not care why this was. "Dad?" said the girl, looking at her father also on the floor, holding his shoulder. "Where am I? What happened to your shoulder?" "How?" Mr. Whitaker said, panting and groaning in pain. "She died. How is she?" "Taylor," Looney said. "Someone who outgave themselves more for love than I could. She's healed. She's okay." The girl ran to her father and threw her arms around him. "I was so scared." Months later, Rossart Middle School. Idris felt strange placing things back into the same locker she had cleared out years ago. To her, it felt like a few months, having been out of existence for 5 years. She had already realized that she would be in class with her former classmates' younger siblings. Life was weird, but she was glad to be living it. She had spent most of her time while waiting to be re-enrolled in school, volunteering at the Not-A-Magic Tea Shop Magic Dispensary. Though she was not sure how she felt about magic being real. The town had been on the news sites constantly with the Magic Council going public, and Idris was tired of talking about it. 2 girls showed up and began to clear out the lockers next to hers. "You must be my locker mates, huh?" Idris said. "Don't talk to us, Oathbreaker," one girl said. Idris did not understand her bitter words. Before she could ask, the girls had completely removed their belongings and vegetables they were keeping in their locker. They walked to the end of the hall where a janitor stood with 2 new locks. Behind him, through a window, Idris saw a white cat glaring at her. Idris looked around. The other kids looked at her, but not like before. Instead of looks of pity, there were looks of horror, as if they were witnessing a ghost standing in the room. Throughout her middle school and high school days, this did not change.